Today we're going to be talking about isosceles and equilateral triangles, neither which should be brand new to you. Key terms: when we have congruent sides of an isosceles triangle, those are called the legs. If I look at this picture right here, and the legs are, the two sides that are congruent are called the legs. The other side would be called the base, because the definition of an isosceles triangle are two side lengths that are congruent in a triangle. And the two angles that are opposite the legs will always be congruent. Okay? They will always be congruent. So if I know a triangle is isosceles, or if I know that a triangle has two congruent sides, I can always come up with a conclusion that if I know the side lengths are congruent, then the opposite angles would be congruent. If I know the angles are congruent, then I know the opposite sides are congruent. So drawing this arrow to look at what the opposite is really does help. So now it says, is AB congruent to CB? So if I look at my picture here, these are the two side lengths I'm looking for. Well, if I'm looking for side lengths, I should see if the opposite angles are congruent. So if I look at the picture, my opposite angle has one arc, and this opposite angle has one arc. So yes, they are congruent because opposite angles are congruent. So if I look at this picture also and I see, is angle A congruent to DEA? So if I trace out DEA, are these two things congruent? Well, again, I would say yes, because these two smaller sides are congruent. That means my opposite angles would be congruent. So because opposite sides congruent. So we have a theorem here. If we have an isosceles triangle and a line bisects the base angle, then that line is also perpendicular. So if I look at this first picture, this is the line that bisects my base angle. So these two lines would be perpendicular. Same thing here. These two lines would be perpendicular, and then also that would be the midpoint of the base. So we create two equal side lengths. What is the value of x? Well, I can see that I have an isosceles triangle right here. I see that this line bisects, so I know that this is 90 degrees. So if this angle is x, then this angle is also x. So I can write up an equation, 54 plus 90 plus an x is equal to 180. And then I would solve for x. I don't get x is equal to 36 degrees. So I want you to fill out the Google Doc form and submit your answers. Make sure you took notes. If you did not take notes, go back and take notes.